Good morning, good morning. This is Kathy Peck with my weekly coffee and cards. It's Wednesday, the 14th of October. It's a beautiful day here in North Texas, although it is going to be a little hot, but it is Texas. So today I am going to share with you in the woods, in the pines and pine wood dyes. There we go. I got it right. And these are the two cards. I will show you how I created them this morning. But let me share with you the pine wood dies. In the cards, I'm not using the dies, just the stamp set, but I have to show you the dies. They are really, really nice. Here you go. You have two pieces that cut like little slopes. You know, like you can make little landscape designs with them. You have, this is a tree and it cuts out the images, but it doesn't, it like cuts a hole in the paper and you have the tree image there. You have some more trees. You have a tree with little bits in it, little holes in it to give you some texture. And then you have a solid tree and you have coordinating stamps that go with all of these. Here's the stamp set. It's really nice. And it's a two-step stamp. So you'd stamp with this and you could go over it with that, or you could just use one or the other by themselves. It just depends on what you like. So I'm using this, and then with it on one of the cards I'm using a sentiment from Itty Bitty Christmas. I mean, you can't go wrong with Itty Bitty Christmas. It covers the gamut of Christmas sayings. So what we're doing today is it's a little artsy. It's stamping. But first, we're going to do some coloring, and we're going to make this card first. If you look at it, this is the Blessed Christmas Wishes from the Itty Bitty Christmas, and all I did was I made a simple, subtle background using Wink of Stella and ink. I'll show you how I did that on watercolor paper. So the watercolor paper is cut 5 1/4 by 4. The Pretty Peacock underneath is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and it's on a white, thick white card base. So, and that's very simple, very elegant. I think it's just to the point. So let me show you how I did that. So I'm going to use Pretty Peacock ink, and what I want to do is put a little bit of ink on the stamp pad to pick it up with the Wink of Stella. Hopefully this Wink of Stella is not dried up. Let's see here. Got to get some of it going. Yep, here it goes. Just drop a little bit of it on here and mix it up and get it ready to go. All right, let me adjust this a little bit. I want to make sure you can see it real well in my camera. So I have the cardstock. Oh, I already did that. Oh, hold on. Let me go get a clean one. What did I do? I grabbed the wrong one. This is the one I'm going to stamp because it's dry. Because you do have to let it dry a little bit. So we'll just borrow this one. I can always grab another piece in a second. So what I did with this watercolor paper, this is the fluid paper that's in the catalog, is I just figured out where I wanted to start, and I just kind of went up in the center and then just kept going back and forth until I got it to, you know, the shape I wanted, and then I added more intensity. Like, wanted the ink line to be a little darker at the bottom, a little more intense in the center. And with this, you know, it's on this watercolor paper. It's very forgiving. You can kind of smooth things out. And it goes so fast. Look at that. Again, I want it a little darker down here at the bottom. And this Wink of Stella, oh, just leaves all that beautiful glitter, glimmer on the paper. It's really nice. And then to just clean your brush, you just have to brush it back and forth, and look at that. Clean as can be. So there, that's my background that I'm going to have, and I'll let that dry. But so So this is the one that I already did. And you can see that it dries really nicely. Stays nice and flat. And I love the glimmer. Then after that, I take these small trees out of the stamp set. And I stamp them. This is my bundle of the week on my blog and all that. I love this bundle. I really like it a lot. It's really for like nature people. If you like simple, elegant cards, this is not bad. And it's so simple because this year I'm going to use like in the pines and snow front to make all my Christmas cards. So I want to go more au naturel. All right. Then I did do the two-step over that to give the trees a little more depth. And of course, I don't know where I put everything. So, and this is the second part, the two-step part, and it's a little distinctive. You know that distinctive is where it's darker in some spots and lighter in others. So that is really, really nice. You can see that here. You can see how it is there. So add a little more ink, and then you just go right over it. You just line up the tops. I'm going to move this down so I can see. I don't want to get my head in the camera. You don't need to see all my gray hair. Line up the tops and just squish it down. There, that's done. Now I'll do the sentiment from the Itty Bitty Christmas, and I used Blessed Christmas Wishes, and that's what I like. I like that on this card. Now remember, the watercolor paper does have a slight bit of texture, so when you're stamping a solid image or a sentiment, it's not gonna be very crisp because of the type of paper you're stamping it on, but it'll still be legible and nice to look at. I mean, it won't be messy. There we go. Just like to hold that for a second and let all the ink absorb. There you go. See, it's a little hit and miss in spots, but that's just the nature of the paper. It makes it look kind of rustic. All right, so we will put this one together. It goes together oh so quickly. And then I'll go grab what's missing. Oh, I got a little extra ink up here, but that's okay. I have a special eraser. If you have a little ink mistake, Tombow makes a sand eraser for ink, and it does work. One of my teammates introduced me to it, and I was really, really surprised at how well it worked. So there we go. Here's that. And then I layered it onto the Pretty Peacock onto the Whisper White, and I like to use Whisper White thick for a white card base. The standard Whisper White is a little thin, I think, and you want your card to have some sturdiness to it. All right, there you go. That one is done. All right, so give me a second and I will go grab my missing goodies and clean off this block before I make a mess with it. Okie dokie, I'm back, and I have this for the next card. Let me move these stamps out of the way. I'm going to use them, and I'll be using a different stamp for the next card. So, all right, so let me check the measurements. I think I grabbed this out of my pre-cut pile, and it might be a little big, so I need to just cut that down just a hair, because again, it is 5 1/4 by 4, and it's going to go on a shaded spruce card base that's 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. So I'm somehow managing to get ink everywhere. I must have inky fingers, but that happens. Here we go. Here we go. And let's see. All right, this one's right. Now these colors, we're going to use shaded spruce and crumb cake. And shaded spruce is going to be what I'm going to stamp with. Pool party is what I'm going to color with. Pool party and crumb cake. Using an aqua painter this time. I mean, you could do it with the Wink of Stella if you wanted to keep having lots of glimmer in it, but this one I want it to be just more rustic looking, not so glimmery. And then I will use the crumb cake, or not crumb cake, but the soft suede marker and the Coastal Cabana marker. I think I grabbed the wrong marker. Well, that's right, it'll work, to make little dots on here. You know, you can't, was a little rushed this morning. Obviously, I need to pay better attention to what I'm doing. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start this. I just use an aqua painter when I have a little bit of water on it. I do suggest having a napkin or a tissue around if it gets too watery, because my little tissue container here, because you don't want to overload it with water. And this dries fairly quickly. All right, so I'm going to start with the pool party, and I'm just picking it up directly from the pad. I'm just starting on a corner. I'm just going to start making a swatch of pool party color. You know, I may need a little more. This is going to take forever if I do it like that. I think I'll pick up a little. Sometimes if you just put the ink on the block, you can pick up more. Also, speaking from personal experience, when you have Wink of Stella on your block, you don't want to let it sit there too long, because it will dry and become permanent. You have to scrub it off the block. I found that out on my own last week when I was putting these cards together. Had this nice little Wink of Stella stain. So with the aqua painter, you can kind of, if it gets too dark, you can kind of spread it around. If you want to darken it up in some areas, you can. I think that's about all that I want to put on there. It doesn't have to look like anything special. You just do it. Put a little crumb cake over here. And just do my crumb cake bottom. You just want the area to be big enough, you know, for to support the stamp you're going to put on it. Unless you want the stamp to hang over, or not to be all over it. Now the colors look funky right now, but when they dry very, very nicely into the color that you want. I even brought a little bit of it up. There. I'm not a watercolor artist by any means, but this is kind of therapeutic and kind of fun, and it's easy. This would make a great little, quick little card buffet class, because it goes fast. So that's good, and just let it dry for a few seconds. I'll put these away and straighten up a little bit. So, yes. And the image that I'm going to stamp is the larger tree. Not the, well, not the largest one, but the medium-sized tree. In the stamp set, this one, you have this big gigantic one, and then this one. I like this one. And I did do the two-step stamping with it. This is going to fit on here. I'm going to put it at an angle. And shaded spruce looks good. I tied a little of that gold ribbon. Oh, I love that gold metallic trim. It's really nice. I love how when you tie it, it kind of splays out, you know, the ends kind of fray, and it looks so cute. All right, I'm stamping it on here, shaded spruce ink. There we go. It's still a little, the paper's still a little wet, so the ink is kind of spreading a little, but I like that effect. It looks like, you know, when you spray your stamp sometimes, you'll ink it up and give it a spray and make it look kind of watercolory. All right, here is the second level. Again, this is one of those distinctive type stamps, so it's darker in some areas and lighter in others. There we go. That's done. Now I'm going to let that sit for a minute, and I'm going to do the greeting. I did the greeting on a separate piece of paper. I stamped it onto a little piece of Whisper White that is 2 3/8 by 1/2. And then I'm going to back it up with some shaded spruce that's 2 by 3/4. And where is, I used the greeting in the stamp set that is Season's Greetings. It comes with 2 greetings, Thinking of You and Season's Greetings. So, you know, if you need to, you could stamp Thinking of You on the front and then add Christmas on the inside, whatever you like. So, I'm hoping for some cooler weather. We had, Sunday it was 100, and then we had 70s on Monday and Tuesday, and then today it's back to 95, and then tomorrow it's back down in the 70s. I'm like, what's going on here? We're in a yo-yo or a roller coaster. All right, my Season's Greetings in shaded spruce. I love these photopolymer stamps. And the clear blocks. It makes it so much easier to get things done. All right, I'm just going to dab a little glue on here and get those two together. If my glue comes out, if not, we'll do something else. I always have issues with this glue. Because this is at a station different from where I usually work, so my glue just, if it doesn't get used, it just doesn't want to come out. It doesn't want to be used. Crazy glue. There we go. That came out. That came out a lot. So I'm just going to line this up here and stick this on the bottom. See how it looks from the side. Oh, it looks good. And just let that sit and dry. Well, I need to put it in a safe place because we are going to do some splattering. I don't want to splatter everywhere. Let me go change this ink. I don't think I want to splatter with Coastal Cabana, do I? No, not really. Let me go find the correct one. Good thing I can do a little bit of editing. I have obviously misplaced my pool party marker, so we're just going to use this. Right. I like to twist this around as I splatter. We just won't put a lot of this on there. I like the splattering technique. It kind of just gives the card a finished look if you don't like all that white space. There. And a little bit of soft suede. So anyway, some of you may know we have a daughter in the Navy. She graduated her boot camp in the 8 weeks, and then we've heard from her a little bit. She is stuck in Chicago, waiting orders to go to Mississippi for school, and she said she might be there for 3 weeks, and she doesn't have access to her phone. She's still in the dorms where they did the basic training, so she's a little boo-hooey about that, but not much we can do from here, but listen to her when she's complaining. But that's just military life. I mean, my husband and I went through it. I mean, it happens like that. Okay, so I am lifting this up on the card because I want to put some of that ribbon under here. See how I did it? I put the ribbon up here. I may lower it, put the ribbon down here under the sentiment this time. I'm always changing my mind how I do these things. But what I like to do when I'm putting the ribbon on is I want to secure it with something. So here I have a little, I don't have any of the Stampin' Seal here, but I do have some of this turn tape. Because I like the ribbon to stick. Or the trim to stick wherever I'm putting it. So it looks like I'm going to put it right there because that's where I stuck my trim, my adhesive. I'm terrible at tying bows, and half the time I'll tie them and then it's loose and the whole ribbon is loose and it just looks so weird, but anyway, at least to me. All right, here we go. This is that really beautiful gold trim. So what I did is I stick one here and I just wrapped it around 3 times. And then I'll go back and make sure it gets stuck down again, and then I'm going to end it back here and trim it off. What I will do then is cut off a little piece on the front and tie it around. Okay, but now that I've got this secured on here, I can make them even. OCD doesn't allow me to make things uneven. Woo! It's just like, it's not happening. All right, so here's my base with a Whisper White liner. On dark cards, actually on all my cards, I put a liner, except for on the white. It's just to have it. And if I'm using Very Vanilla as a liner, or in the card, if Very Vanilla is a coordinating color, I'll put a Very Vanilla liner in. It's just how I do things, but a lot of people do that too. All right, so we're going to set this on here. I got to turn it sideways. I need to be able to make sure I get it right at the top, or it drives me bananas. There we go. Got a kiddo homeschooling. And the district wants us to send our kids back to school, but I'm like, I'm not taking a chance because her high school has had the most COVID episodes of any of the schools in our district. So that kind of convinced me to just keep her home, keep her safe. All right, trim that off. Make it easier to work with. You do need to tie this twice or else it comes undone. Speaking from experience, I've had it happen. Then you just give it a little whoop, and look at that, it's already raveling up. And what I did to this one is I secured it with a glue dot because it was to kind of keep it in place. This glue dot's really big. You just kind of roll it up like a burrito and stick it under there. Oops. Look at that. I made them stick up. Don't stick up, stick down. Well, anyway, it's there. And now for the greeting that I set aside. Here we go. I'm going to set it up with glue dots, but I'm going to use the mini glue dots because I want to go around the ribbon. So I'm going to put one like at the top here. Top there. These are such cute. I like making these kind of cards. They go fast. They're fun. It's something different than stamp, stamp, stamp or die cut, you know, and this one is just a hair different, which makes it nice. I want to put this, I don't think I want to put it all the way to the edge. I want to see both sides of the trim. There we go. And then these, oh, these wonderful gems are wonderful. I really, really like them. I showed them to a friend of mine. I'm helping her do some Christmas cards, and she was like, oh, I have to have these on my cards. They're so pretty. And I think I used like a couple of small ones. So I need to order some more of these because I know I'm going to run out. It's just going to happen. You can never decide where to put them. But that's the fun part, just figuring it out. Always do 3, sometimes more, sometimes less, but always keep it in an odd number. I think I'm going to put that there. There we go. Happy, happy, joy, joy. It looks good. Okay, so let me straighten this up a little bit, and you can see all the nice things we did today. Making some holiday cards using the In the Pines stamp set. You could easily put the die cut tree here and here if you wanted to give it a little more dimension, but I think they look really good, just like they are, kind of artsy. Alrighty, thank you for joining me on my weekly coffee and cards. I'll be back again next Wednesday, 10 a.m. Central. I usually am on at 9, but I started a training class on Wednesdays that I cannot change the time to, so for the time being, it'll be 10. So anyway, thank you again. Have a great day. Bye.